What bollocks?
Let's do it.
What are we talking about, brother?
Right, today we are talking about murders.
Right.
Have you ever met a murderer?
Yes.
You have.
Yes.
Nice guy?
Uh,
Or girl?
I would say he was an interesting guy.
Mm-hmm.
I've met a few.
Have you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I've met a few. You know, I wouldn't say serial killer.
Do they look like murderers?
No. No, I'd say it's ordinary people.
Yeah.
Yeah. One guy in particular, he very interesting story. So he was a hippie guy, bald, legend. Chunky monkey, short, absolute lunatic.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you get speaking to him and you think, fucking hell, you're a weird guy.
Yeah.
Right. But it turns out he was schizophrenic. Didn't seem schizophrenic when I met him. He was like, had all his like bracelets all up his arm.
Right.
Yeah. Real hippie guy, big beard. Nice guy though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turns out he had tried to kill his wife and kid.
Any reason or?
No, he was in prison.
Cooking wasn't up to par.
He'd come out of prison, so he'd gone through the whole process. He'd been in prison for about 15, 20 years, and they let him out on good behaviour in the end. And the reason why he didn't get so long is because he was deemed pretty insane. But he tried to kill his wife and daughter because he believed they were plotting his death.
Really? Do you reckon there was anything there or?
What? They were plotting
Were
his
they
death?
plotting his death?
No, well, he thought they were going to put him in a plant pot and plant him.
I've never heard of that one, but you know,
But the
sounds
reason
pretty bad.
he had a psychotic break. He went to a pub and killed 2 people.
That's why he went to prison.
He went to prison for the murder of those 2 people, but he did try and kill his wife and kid because he thought that they were trying to kill him and plant him in a plant pot. Lunatic. Not someone I'd leave with my kids, but yeah, he's all right.
Could be your average Joe, you know. I mean, how many people met Ted Bundy?
A lot, yeah. Well, they
Okay.
say this is an interesting fact. So they say that 1% of the population is a psychopath. 1%. Now this rises massively if you go into certain professions,
Right.
like a CEO. Basically, the more successful you are, the more money you have, the more power you have, the more likely you are to be a psychopath. Some studies predict it could be up to 30% of CEOs of the biggest companies in the world would demonstrate significant psychopathic traits.
Nice. Nice.
And that takes you on to the whole conspiracy of the elite.
The elitist group.
The elite being psychopaths, not having our best interests at heart. And there are scientific studies that demonstrate they're more likely to be psychopaths.
It's great. Owner of McDonald's. Mass murderer.
I would never. Would you ever eat McDonald's?
What if he was a mass murderer?
Just in general. Do you eat McDonald's?
No.
No way.
Well, I've had McDonald's probably this year. Yeah,
Have you?
definitely this year. Yeah,
oh
definitely.
man, I haven't eaten that for years.
Yeah, I've had it a couple of times this year, I'd say.
Do you know what?
Only a lot.
There's too many times. If you do a Google search and type in human tooth or human remains or human DNA in McDonald's, too many times has someone found a tooth, someone found the end of a finger, or they've tested it independently and found human DNA. Just do a Google search.
And they still can't remember to take the gherkins out. That's ridiculous.
That is unbelievable. Fucking gherkins.
Gherkins.
Do you like them?
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I like that.
I've got a jar of pickled gherkins at home. One. He's the guilty one, right? And I can probably take a bigger bite than that, to be fair.
Fucking hot.
Oh. Right.
Good bacon, though.
It's really good. You've just found out your girlfriend's been murdered. What would you do?
You couldn't even think about it, could you? You couldn't even think about it. I don't know. I think just the absolute devastation of the situation. I think the anger would come a little bit later. At first it'd be like disbelief. And then you'd probably be overwhelmed with sadness. And then the anger would probably come in a little bit later. I've never met a guy that likes foot fetish that's not a weirdo.
I've never met a guy that likes feet, personally.
Oh, no,
I think they kind of keep their head down.
my sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law likes feet.
Yeah, well, no, she used to. She had a guy that used to like pictures of her feet. Pay her serious money as well. He'd give her like £200 for a picture of her foot.
This young couple, in love, right? They go out into the woods and they have a little bit of a frolic. Yeah, they have a good time in the woods. They're walking out of the woods. It's night time. They don't want to get caught. They're having a little frolic. They're having a good time. Right, so the woman steps on something fleshy underneath her. She's like, "Oh, what was that?" And she sprints. She goes. She's gone. And then the man's after her as well because he's freaked out as well. They just leave it. They forget about it. They were like, "That was a weird experience. Hope that never happens again." Right. They put it to the back of their mind. It turns out, years later, that what they stepped on was a woman that had just been murdered by a mass murderer, serial killer.
Wait, so they trod on this woman?
They trod on this woman's leg as she was being dragged into a bush.
The police never investigated? So they said...
They never reported to the police.
Oh, right, so they just trod on something disgusting.
And they ran, because they were like, what's that? It's just moved under me. What if it's a snake or something?
Oh, it moved?
Well, he was dragging it.
Right.
The murderer. He just killed her.
Right.
He was dragging her through the forest to get rid of the body. They come walking. He's like, it's the middle of the night. What are people doing out here? He stops.
Right, yeah.
They step on it. He's like, trying to get it.
They saw the murderer?
No, they didn't see anything. It was pitch black. All they felt was this thing underneath the girl. Only the girl felt it. It moved. She bolted.
So he's there dragging it?
But he stops when he hears them coming because they're just talking, aren't they?
Right. So they've stood on this body and he's like, a carpet tried to yank it out from under.
Yeah, but obviously she stepped on the leg.
Yeah.
Right? She stepped on a woman's leg.
Yeah.
So it's not like...
I'll just leave it.
What do you mean?
Well, I wouldn't yank it.
Well, he's panicked, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's like, he's like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh, they stepped on it. Drag it out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, it's worked because they've thought it was an animal or something weird and they've run for their lives, right? They've run screaming. But yeah, it turns out it was this woman that he'd just killed, dragging her through the forest. He'd just gone down. They'd gone walking past.
How did they find that out?
Well, they connected it, the two places. Right. And he admitted it. He was like, he got caught. He was like, oh, I got caught. Here's what I did. Here's the closest I ever got. Because they interviewed him as a mass murderer. They do that, don't they? They interviewed him. He was like, I actually almost got caught all these years ago. A couple were walking through the woods. And they stepped on the body. And then they ran off screaming. Didn't do anything. I thought I was going to get caught. Nothing happened. These mass murderer psycho killers, they love the fame afterwards. They love talking about it.
They like to leave little clues for the police. They want to be known. Have you ever seen Wolf Creek?
Wolf Creek? No.
You haven't seen anything ever, have you?
No, I don't really get it much.
Right, Wolf Creek is a movie based on true events, and it's based on a guy called Ivan Milat. This was an Australian guy. So the movie is basically based on his life of kidnapping, torturing to an extreme, and like having his wicked way, and then killing backpackers across Australia. He was a real horrible guy, horrible, nasty guy. Anyway, so when he broke up with his wife, very shortly after that, he kidnapped someone.
Nice.
And they made an agreement. The girl that he kidnapped said, if I have sex with you, will you let me go? He said yes.
Obviously.
Let her go.
Really?
He actually let her go. She went and told the police. He got charged, arrested, and then he got arrested just before he got charged. She dropped it and let it go. And that was the last time he was going to make the mistake of letting someone go. So
why did she drop it? Do we know?
We don't know.
Wow.
So from there on out, he was capturing, torturing, like by severing the spine so that they're paralyzed, torturing, raping, and killing these backpackers. Like we're talking young girls, young boys across Australia.
And that woman that dropped it, she's not going to drop that on her own accord.
No.
There's got to be something that he's done.
Yeah.
He's managed to get to her somehow.
She's scared.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That would be terrifying. Could you imagine backpacking? Because he didn't care.
Yeah.
He was getting you. In the film, in the Wolf Creek film, so he would give them something to drink and they would knock them out. And then they'd wake up chained up. And in the film, I don't know how accurate the film is to real life, but in the film, he'd have people chained up against the wall. And dogs would be like starving hungry in cages. He'd let them go. And then these people that were chained to the wall would see skeletons up against the wall, which from here down were gone.
Yeah.
And then there'd be dogs there which can only get to here. He'd let the dogs out.
Good boy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And that's based on a true story? Or is that a little bit...
So it's based on a guy called Ivan Milat, who was the backpack killer.
But
there was a few people in Australia which were sickos doing a similar sort of thing, and it was kind of a collaboration of all of them.
Did you hear about a guy in, again, America? America's got a lot of these. He was a literal saint for the community locally, right? Everyone worshipped him. He was a great guy, did everything for the community, did as much as he could. Turns out he had about 20 young lads buried under his house.
Wow.
With a wife.
I did hear about this guy.
Yeah.
I did.
I can't remember what his name was, but
Yeah,
horrendous.
he was a religious guy, wasn't he?
Religious guy,
Was
yeah.
he bald and fat?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen it. And he was building
Yeah,
like
what was he building?
shelters.
Yeah. He
for
was
the,
like
for the homeless. And this is how he was getting people.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Crazy, right?
Do you want to hear something crazy?
Go on.
Fuck. Jack the Ripper
Yeah.
might be a Jill.
No way.
Might be a woman.
Oof. That's gonna upset a lot of people.
And her husband was sleeping with hookers.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Mad.
Might be a Jill.
Imagine.
Do you know what as well? There's another guy around about the same time as Jack the Ripper who was killing people across America. And there is quite a bit of evidence to suggest that this was the same person going to America, to London. But outside of that, yeah, there's evidence that it might be a Jill.
You ever heard of the time traveller murderer?
No.
Time travelling murderer?
No. That sounds epic.
Yeah. I don't really know much about it, so
No.
I don't know enough to be able to talk about it, to be honest. There's a lot of murderers out there. There's a lot of one. I mean, think about all the ones that haven't been caught. Like, how many cases there are out there that are completely unsolved?
Well, let's
But
say...
you couldn't actually get away with a murder today, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely you
Well,
could.
think about it. I mean,
Oh,
police
easy.
can literally tell...
Easy peasy.
If you go into one room for over 3 seconds, your DNA has been left there in enough amount
Listen,
to be
how
registered.
many people do you think are missing in Scotland alone at the moment?
So,
Like long term?
I have no idea.
600. Easy.
Well, I mean, again, this
See,
could be...
if someone goes missing,
This just could be fact from police trying to stop murders from happening.
Alaska's a
beforehand,
big one
right?
in America.
Okay.
Thousands of people go missing, they're never to be seen again in Alaska.
But is that...
Have you ever seen Wrong Turn?
No. No, I haven't. I just watched Lord of the Rings and eat cheese and
Right,
toast.
Yeah, to be fair, Lord of the Rings is good. So Wrong Turn is based on these hillbilly fucks. We're talking. Have you ever seen the Inbred Family like going around YouTube? It's not a movie, this one.
No, okay.
No.
No.
Right. So this is Inbred Family going around YouTube. When I say inbred, I mean like I think the mum and dad are double cousin sister mothers.
That's hot.
brothers,
Yeah,
like
that's
whatever.
hot.
Like they're multiple things going on there, right? So these people, they're just absolutely disabled, as you would expect from brother and sister.
I knew a guy
Well,
who married his cousin.
first cousin.
First cousin.
But that's weird.
Yeah, they had 2 kids. Their
Actually, no, this-
kids were fine.
I've known a few people as well.
Yeah.
Married their cousins. Anyway, so this was way worse.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were like double cousins
Yeesh.
and brothers and sister at the same time. Like
Hot.
their generations were all interbred.
Yeah.
So the people that have come out are just like they can't communicate. They're blind.
Really?
They're all living in a shack in America somewhere. And there's a guy going around who documents them, and then one of the guys just stands there barking. Like the whole time he's just barking. So I mean, they seem to be living life and doing their thing, but they even had babies there as well, which is like controversial on
Yeah.
what you do there. Anyway, so this film is called Wrong Turn, and it's based on hillbillies. They live somewhere in like some remote place of America, wait for backpackers, just brutally murder them. Great,
Just for the sake of it.
just for the want to kill them.
There
Great
you go.
film.
Yeah.
I reckon that's
Yeah.
happening in Alaska. There is a video on YouTube. It's an old one. It's been on TikTok a few times, and they keep removing it. Basically, it's this interview with a young girl by a police where she accuses her dad, who's the head teacher of a school, of murdering and eating babies in a satanic ritual with
No way.
other elitist mums and dads.
Yeah.
Because this isn't just any school. This is a private school
Right.
in a rich part of London. And do you know
This is
what?
in London.
This is in London.
Bloody hell.
Right, yeah. So this is the descriptions are fucking mental. Like,
How old's the kid?
the kid is probably about 11, maybe
Really?
younger, and she's with her brother who's saying the same thing, and he's about 7.
No way.
Right. The descriptions they come out with is like you couldn't imagine. I mean, kids have good imaginations. Why would you say that about your dad? And it's just so matter of fact. It is eerily creepy as hell. She's saying they made her kill. This is what she's saying. My dad made me kill the baby. We had to drink the baby's blood. We turned the babies into shoes. We cut their skin off and turned them into shoes. At the back of the school, there's a room where they've got baby skulls where they drink the blood out of it. She's saying this like it's a real thing, like it's matter of fact.
How do you come up with that as a kid, though? How do you fake
It
that?
goes so deep, right? So she's literally sitting there having
Crazy.
an interview with the police. The police asking her questions. She's just saying it. She's not like having to think about this. She's just saying.
It's just matter of fact, yeah.
Asking you a question. The police
Replying.
ask her a question. She replies to the question as if it's real.
Mm.
Right? The mum had to leave the country, took the kids with her. Then the kid, this is like a long time ago now, the kids ended up being back with the dad. And I saw a recent photo of them. These kids look dead.
Really?
They look dead inside. They're standing there like that with the dad, who's still the head teacher. Nothing ever happened about it.
No way.
Nothing ever was done. He was never investigated.
Surely, like, at least an investigation
What
needs
the
to be
hell?
done, right?
Do you know what? It's just like when you watch that video, you think, what if?
Imagine.
What if? And
Imagine
this
if that's
ties
true.
into the whole, there's a lot of crazy conspiracies
Crazy.
out there. Right?
I mean, I didn't like my head teacher as a kid, but I don't think he was drinking baby skulls. That's crazy.
I mean, one or two things is happening. You were like, what the hell have you watched or seen? And how are you that intelligent to answer that
Yeah,
quick?
able to say that, yeah.
Because it's just like, the answers are instant.
Yeah. And why would you have that against your dad? I mean, 12 years old, I love my dad.
But you know the consequence of what you're saying.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what's going to, because you're believing that those police will believe you.
Yeah.
That's what you think. That policeman's going to believe what I say. My dad is going to prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
That's what she was thinking. Why?
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Crazy.